You're listening to episode number 17 of the Transform Your Life from the Inside Out podcast. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about how to use your dreams and how to use dream time to get anything you want in life. Better health, wealth, love, inner guidance, whatever it is, you can have it all when you learn to use dream time as your advisor. Keep listening. Hi, I'm Jim Fortin, and you're about to start transforming your life from the inside out with this podcast. I'm widely considered the leader in subconscious transformation, and I've coached super achievers all around the world for over 25 years. Here, you're going to find no rah-rah motivation and no hype, because this podcast is a combination of brain science, transformational psychology, and ancient wisdom all rolled into one to take your life to levels you've never thought possible. If you're wanting a lot more in life, to feel better, to heal, to have peace of mind, to feel powerful and alive, and to bring more abundance and prosperity into your life, then this podcast is for you, because you're going to start learning how to master your mind and evolve your consciousness. And when you do that, anything you want then becomes possible for you. I'm glad you're here. So the first question I have for you is, what is dreaming? Most people think, literally, that they just go to sleep at night, they dream, and their dreams are all about life events or stories or whatever, and then they wake up and they go about their daily life. Most people think that it's just something that we do. But what I've noticed over the years is that people dream, everyone dreams, you dream every single night, so every single day that you're on this planet, you dream. Many people don't remember their dreams and they think that they don't dream, but everyone dreams unless they've had a particular brain injury. So you dream every single day for a third of your life, yet most people have never put a single thought into, well, what is dreaming? What is dream time? And how can I use dream time to transform my life? To keep it simple, and I want to keep this entire episode as simple as I can, but as functional and as applicable as I can. But dream time is your connection to the universe. Dream time is when you connect with everything that there is in the universe available to you. As a matter of fact, your entire life is a dream. Because see, most people think that they have dreaming as black and white. They think that when they are awake, then they're not dreaming, and when they are asleep in dream time, they are dreaming. And the reality is that your life is always connected to consciousness, yet when we're not dreaming, when we are awake, which you're listening to this right now when you're awake, you literally have compartmentalized your entire cosmic ability by saying, okay, right now I am in my waking consciousness, and then when I go to sleep, I'm going to be in dream time. And most people never even think, well, what is the possibility of dream time? What is dream time and how can I use it? In truth, dream time and waking time are the same. And it can be really hard for a lot of people to get their mind around. But simply understanding the difference between waking time and dream time, and we're not going to go into that here because that can be a really extensive, subject and it can go really deep. But most people think that they are literally like A and B. You're awake is A and you're sleeping is B, when in truth there is only A, in that you are a conscious dreaming being at all times. It's simply a matter of awareness to actually understand when you're not awake, understanding how to master dream time. And like I said, we're going to actually, we're going to start that here. If I were to do audios on this or a training program, literally, I don't even know how long it would take me to do it. I mean, it would be, minimum, I don't even know, like an entire day program or more than that. But what I'm going to do in this episode is give you some very specific things that you can start doing to start using your dream time to create whatever it is that you want in life. Something else that people never look at, and this is a bit more esoteric, is that your entire life, ponder this, your entire life is a dream dreamed by the dreamer. You are the dreamer. So as I said, this can be a very advanced subject. But what we're going to do is we're going to start at the lower level of the subject matter because this material, even the simple stuff, and this has nothing to do with you, it's just because you've never been taught, is even this very simple episode is going to be new to a lot of people because when we're born, no one ever says, hey, you know what? You're going to dream a third of your life in dream time when you are, air quote, asleep. Let me teach you how to use dream time. Now, I don't know about you, but I wasn't taught that. I learned this from a shaman. And you know what? I bet you have probably also not learned most of this. So, that being said, most of us never think about the art of dreaming, meaning what is this amazing art that happens every single day in our lives? So, as I said, we're going to keep this simple. And in this episode, you're going to start learning how to use dream time in conjunction with your subconscious mind to create whatever it is that you want in life. I wanted to say when you master this, you will truly be a powerful, spiritual, cosmic being. But the reality is I don't know that most people will ever master this in this lifetime. What I'm going to share with you, you can master that. But when it comes to the art of truly mastering the depth of dream time, that's probably beyond the scope of most people on the planet. And it's colossal if most people truly knew that even dreams had doorways and gateways in dreams, and we go through doors and gateways of consciousness and levels of awareness even in dream time. We will not be talking about that in this particular episode. Also, and I'm probably going to use it a lot in the episodes. When I use the word spiritual, I do not mean that in any kind of dogmatic way because so many people actually even, many times spiritualists think, well, you know what, I'm a spiritualist and I'm not into the dogma of air quote organized religion. But yet religion is anything, the definition is anything that you believe in strongly. And many people actually take their spirituality and make it religion without even recognizing they're making it religion. And they actually are criticizing people who are into religion, but they are also into religion without even knowing it. So when I use the word spiritual, it's just intended to mean that there is some cosmic life force that flows through your body. You have some, air quote again, spirit, hence the word spiritual. So to be very clear, I do not mean the word spiritual in any kind of dogmatic or religious way. Let me put it this way. When you learn to work with dream time, you are truly using the inborn skills and tools that you have available as truly a cosmic being. And I'm not going to spend too much time on that because I mentioned it before, but everyone on this planet is a cosmic being because you know what? You came somewhere before you got to the planet and you're going to leave this planet and go somewhere else, which truly means that you are an infinite cosmic being. And when you start working in dream time, now you're out of your what I call 3D world, meaning your tangible world around you on a daily basis, and you're working with higher function of mind and higher energy. I said a little earlier about dreaming. Everyone dreams. And many people will say, no, I don't dream. No, you do dream. It's that you don't remember your dreams. And as a matter of fact, as you're going to learn here, you can even command your subconscious mind to assist you in remembering your dreams, but we'll get to that in just a bit. The only people that don't dream, and some neuro research is starting to show this or has shown this, is the people that don't dream are people that have suffered some kind of traumatic brain injury. Otherwise, whether or not you think you dream or you don't, if you think you don't, unless you've had a traumatic brain injury, guess what? You dream. Also, and I've said this the third time, there are many, many levels of dreaming. In my advanced coaching programs, we talk about the multiple levels of dreaming. But for the purpose of this episode, we're going to keep it really simple, and we're going to talk about programming your dreams, programming your subconscious mind, using your dreams to program your subconscious mind, and deciphering and understanding the messaging in your dreams. We're not going to go super deep on this because, again, this is a podcast episode, and I don't have 8 hours to share this with you. But what you're going to learn, even in this episode, is going to be powerful enough to quite literally change your life when you use it exactly as I'm going to teach you to use it and share with you how to use it in this episode. A lot of people don't know this, but many of the great achievers actually use dream time to, to discover things they discovered or things they invented. It's been documented that Henry Ford used dream time. Einstein is documented to have used or said that he used dream time. And especially Nikola Tesla has said that he's used dream time. Even, as simple but yet very powerful as Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney said that he got all the melody for the song Yesterday. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I read the song Yesterday is playing 24 hours a day continuously, meaning it's playing somewhere in the world every second of the day. Is that true? I don't know, but I read it. But you know what? I think I read it on the internet, so it must be true. And I'm obviously kidding. But it makes sense. I mean, with 7 billion people or 7 plus billion people and all the radio stations and everything else we have, it would make sense that it's playing 24/7. Yet Paul McCartney said that he got the melody in a dream. He woke up, went to the piano, and penned the song Yesterday based upon the melody that he got in Dreamtime. For me, Dreamtime is the most important part of my day, and actually a lot of people discount Dreamtime. I remember reading this Facebook thread, and this person said, literally what they said is, I'm an entrepreneur, I work my days away, etc. I don't sleep a lot. Sleep is a waste of time. Sleep when you die. There's an extreme amount of ignorance in that comment, because as you're going to discover, and when you start using what I share with you, that your dream time is going to be the most valuable part of your day, because you can use it to create anything that you want. For me, dream time is the most valuable part of my day. And I literally, and I mean literally, I use my dream time and the guidance that I get in dream time because I use it for problem solving, which I'll share with you in just a bit. Whatever guidance that I get in dream time, even if it's contradictory to what I think analytically, which means in my waking mind right now, I will always go with my dreamtime guidance. Why? Because my dreamtime guidance is more valuable and more powerful than my waking conscious analytical prefrontal cortex thinking. I 100% trust the inner guidance that I get in dreamtime. As I said, a few times, I want to keep this simple, but your entire life is a dream. See, right now, you think that you're awake. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are in the world listening to this podcast, you think that, you're awake. But have you ever considered that you're actually more awake as a cosmic being in dream time than you are waking time? Because see, right now in your waking time, you're trapped, quite literally. When you do not learn to use higher function of the mind, and I'm sure that I will create some episodes on this, using what's called your sense, SENSE. Not your common sense, but your higher sense, what people call your sixth sense. There are ways to develop and use that. But for the most part, most of humanity is trapped in the bag of skin they're walking around in, meaning your body, and they're trapped by their prefrontal cortex thinking, meaning their analytical thinking. And their entire life is trapped in a little bitty box, not fully recognizing that we are infinite cosmic beings. And then they never think, well, if I'm an infinite cosmic being, how? How can I tap into that, and how can I use that? So in Dreamtime, the reason that I said that my Dreamtime learning or my Dreamtime messages or whatever they might be, they're more valuable to me than my 3D thinking. And the reason why is because, see, in your 3D thinking, you're trapped by your conscious analytical mind. Most people, for the most part. There are also ways out of that. But let's just say that most people are trapped with their 3D analytical prefrontal cortex brain and mind. And actually, mind is not brain-based. Science can't find the mind. The mind exists outside the brain, even though the brain is a medium for the mind. But let me put it this way. When you are in dream time, consider this. When you are in dream time, you have access to higher universal mind. And when you're in dream time, you are completely unfettered consciousness that is not encumbered by your 3D analytical thinking mind. And To simplify that even more is when you're in dream time, you are not trapped by the belief systems that you have learned and conditioned yourself to believe over the years. So I'll say it again. In dream time, you are pure, unfettered consciousness. And when you actually get that and you start working from, okay, I am pure, unfettered consciousness and I can connect with divine mind, I can connect with universal mind, I can connect with the universe. Now, when you work from that place, you can pull every answer and every bit of wisdom that you need into your mind via dream time. To keep this as simple as possible, you can even use your unconscious mind, which works with you in dream time, to solve your problems. See, your unconscious mind is a problem, well, it's many things, but it's a problem solving mechanism as well as all the other things that it does for you. And you can use by giving your unconscious mind a command, you can use it in dream time to solve your problems. This is where the old adage came from. People say, I want to sleep on it. Well, the reason they want to sleep on it, and they don't know this, but the reason they want to sleep on it is more times than not, they want to see what comes to them later, even though that they're not thinking about, hey, what's going to come to me later. So one of the biggest things that I use Dreamtime for, and I'll give you an example in a moment and show you how to do it, is to use Dreamtime to solve any obstacle that you might have. You already know that you can instruct your unconscious mind to bring you answers in Dreamtime. You can instruct your unconscious mind to actually even heal your body in dream time. You can actually use your unconscious mind as well to bring you higher and inner guidance via dream time. To keep this simple, and I know I keep saying this because really, if you worked with someone like a shaman and you could see the expansiveness of dream time, it becomes mind-boggling. And I think you've already recognized that my purpose in this podcast, every podcast, is to give you transformational, applicable, actionable things that you can use to start improving your life with each and every episode. So let's look at the three minds. It is believed that we have three minds. It can be more complex than this, but I keep saying over and over is that we'll keep it simple, is that you have the conscious mind. The conscious mind is the analytical part of you listening right now. It is believed by scientists that the conscious mind actually functions through the left brain. It's analytical, it's rational, it's linear, it processes language. It is the seat of short-term memory, well, at least the left-hand side of the brain. And it's believed that the unconscious mind operates through the right-hand side of the brain. So you probably learned from me by now, is that the conscious mind is only 5% of your mental function, whereas most of our mental function, the other 95%, is completely unconscious. Then we go from there to what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious or the superconscious, meaning that there is a divine mind. Call it the quantum field, the quantum dimension, call it the quantum wave, whatever you want. You can even call it God if you want. But it's believed that, and it's known by the ancients, and science actually proves a lot of this, that the universe is consciousness. So what we can do is we can use our conscious thinking analytical mind to direct our unconscious mind to interact with the universal mind. So, for example, a way to do that, and again, I'll give you a quick example, then I'll give you some better ones a little later on in this podcast, is you could say, you know what? I need an answer to XYZ, and I'm asking my subconscious mind to go out in the universe and find that answer and bring it back to me. Quite literally, using your unconscious mind to connect with the divine mind is quite literally like using a cosmic galactic Google to go get your answers for you. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. Because you know what? For those of you that do listen to me and do start playing and start practicing what I'm going to share with you here, if you're like most people, very quickly you're going to be surprised at how many epiphanies and ahas and things, how things start happening and showing up in your life. Whether you use the content, that's entirely up to you. I know I've mentioned before, there's an ancient text. It was published around, I think, the early 1900s, but it's believed that the text is thousands of years old, the manuscript. And the book's called the Kybalion, Kybalion. I was turned on to the Kabbalion literally 25 years ago. And the Kabbalion is there's what's called the seven cosmic laws in the Kabbalion. And the first cosmic law is that everything in the universe is divine mind, meaning everything is mental. And when you start actually exploring that and looking into that, you recognize that you can quite literally tap in to everything. And that being said, what's becoming obvious to you is that you can use the universe to create for you. That's why, a bigger part of my message is stop the nonsense that a lot of people teach. Like, you've got to go out there and you've got to work until your eyeballs bleed, and you've got to work yourself into the ground, and the only way to get ahead is hard work. That is sheer nonsense, and even science proves it. I'm not going to go into it here, but there's a scientific experiment, a physics experiment called the double slit experiment. Double slit experiment. And what that experiment demonstrates is in physics, and I'll keep this really simple because I can't understand the whole experiment, but I know the outcome, is that we as observers of the universe affect the material universe. We affect what happens with electrons, neutrons, and protons by what we observe and what we affect and what we expect, not affect, what we expect to happen with electrons, neutrons, and protons, which basically means is that we can collapse what's called the wave, meaning the quantum field, into the particle, which is the outcome that you want. We can actually create what we want by using the universe with our intention and our will. Another example here would be problem solving. I think a lot of people that listen to this podcast, I may have a lot of entrepreneurs following, and a lot of people over the years have read the classic book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, I was told a story by a very smart friend of mine who was very, very well read. I do not know if it's true, but I've had similar experiences myself, so I can say I don't know if that story's true, but I know that it could be true because similar things have happened to me, and they're going to happen to you also once you start using the technique I'm going to give you in just a bit. So the story goes is that Napoleon Hill did not have a title for Think and Grow Rich, which again is a classic book. And his publisher wanted to name the book Use Your Noodle to Make Boodle. And Napoleon Hill did not want to use that title. So what he did is he actually went to bed. He gave a command to his subconscious mind. He told the subconscious mind to bring him the title of the book. And he woke up, and it could be long, it could be a day or two, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But he actually got the title through dream time, through giving a command to his subconscious mind. And the title was Think and Grow Rich. Let me share with you how I've used this in my own life. I mean, I use it every single day, but I remember this is something very tangible that I can share with you. Many years ago, probably 15 years, I don't know, but many years ago, I before I went to bed, I said to my subconscious mind, which back then I called it sub, which is, just short for subconscious mind. I said, sub, show me where my target market is and show me where I can attract more money. I asked the question that specifically, that directly, basically sub, hey, go out in the universe, show me where my target market is, show me where I can attract more money. Simple as that. And I went to bed knowing that the answer would come to me. That very same night, I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and what popped into my head, boom, was American Airlines magazine. Now, this was back before iPads and iPhones and all of that. This was back when we actually would read the magazine. You hop on you hop on the airplanes, and there's like an airline magazine in the back of the seat. So I woke up, and American Airlines magazine was in my mind. I went to the computer. I went to the American Airlines site. I looked at the media kit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's my target market. And in that target market, demographics, for example, I tend to attract college-educated people, professionals, and people making at least $100,000 per year. Well, looking at the American Airlines Media Kit demographic, 89% of their flyers are college-educated, making over $100,000 per year, Monday through Friday. And it might even be the weekends, I don't remember, but I know it's 89%. I'm like, oh my God, there's my target market. So then what I did is I hopped off and I started running full page ads in American Airlines, which were back then, and I guess they still are, were really pricey. They're $15,000 per ad. And I ran a full page ad for a product that I now give away called Zero Effort Selling, which is a persuasion and influence product. It's a subconscious persuasion and influence product. And I ran a full page ad, and I didn't get the product response that I wanted. But there was a guy who read the ad who reached out and he said, you know what? I read your ad in American Airlines Magazine. And he says, I want to work with you. Come to find out, he was an extremely successful national real estate coach. I mean, he was extremely well connected. And he said, I want to do co coaching programs with you. So that very first year working with him, I made $120,000 that year, I believe. And every single year since then, until about 2016, until I completely stopped, coaching in the real estate field, I made over $100,000. So over the course of about 6 years, I probably made, I don't know, 750,000, $1 million over the course of those 6 years. And that all came from that one request to my subconscious mind to bring me my target market. Then it brought American Airlines Magazine. Then I advertised in it. Then I met this guy named John, who was a real estate coach. He plugged me into the industry. I started getting a lot of traction in the industry, and I made a lot of money all from that one request. What I can do, you can do. What you can also do is, and I'll give you the exact wording in a moment, is you can ask your unconscious mind to bring answers to you, which is what I just did, but you can ask for any answer you want. Like, and you can call your subconscious mind whatever you want, but sub, where do I find the right place to live? Sub, what kind of job is the best kind of job for me? Or anything. I'm trying to pick between city A and city B. Which city is in my highest good and my best interest? You can use your subconscious mind to actually answer any question about your life or anything in life that you can possibly think of. Or you can also say, subconscious mind, I want to have a dream tonight. I request to have a dream, and in that dream is going to be my solution to XYZ problem. And do not be shocked if that night or in a day or so, you either have a dream about the problem you're looking for a solution to, or you actually have an aha and you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I see that? That is my obvious answer. So it may even come in the form of an epiphany. So like Napoleon Hill, or like me, or the millions of other people that have learned how to use their subconscious mind in dream time, you can ask for anything that you want, and then be confident and know that when you ask, the universe in some way at some point will deliver the answer to you. You can also ask, as I said earlier, you can ask for healing. You can actually, and a great way to approach this is that you ask your subconscious mind to give you dreams, and in the dreams, you can ask a couple of things. One would be, how do I heal? And I'm looking for answers. Or a more powerful way is to ask your subconscious mind that you have dreams that you are, operative word, already healed. Because when you dream and you're dreaming about healing, what happens in the mind at that level of consciousness will also happen in your body. Okay, this is really important. Just like I gave you my example with American Airlines Magazine. When you ask, you want to, it's very, very simple formula. You want to ask clearly as you possibly can. It's better to say, sub, which city is better for me? Boston or New York City? And then what I would also do is give my subconscious mind an option C. Which city is better for me to move to? Boston, New York City, or is there a better city for me? Now you're giving the unconscious mind the opportunity to give you an answer that's at a higher level for you that you haven't even thought about. So you want to ask your question clearly. You want to ask your question specifically. And then finally, go to bed confidently with the intention that you know the answer will come. And to be a little repetitive, it can come in a dream, it can come in an epiphany, it can come in a air quote sign, it can come in a conversation that you have with somebody tomorrow. The example that I just gave you. Tomorrow, somebody could call and say, you know what? I've been thinking of going to Boston for the day. Do you want to go with me? Boom. There's your answer. The universe is reflecting that answer back to you by things that are happening in your external life. I also want to point out that your answer, for me, they come very, very quickly because I've been doing this for 25 years with the assistance of a shaman. I'm a dreamer. Plain and simple. I am a dreamer and I'm very, very adept. We all have gifts. We all have talents. One of my talents is to be able to use Dreamtime this lifetime. That's why I said earlier that anything, I trust anything that I want, I toss to Dreamtime. And when I get answers in Dreamtime, I trust them 100% more than anything that I'm thinking analytically. Your answer might not come right away, so look for it in terms of signs, signals, omens, epiphanies, and maybe even in the dream where the answer comes to you in the dream. But make no mistake, when you ask, the answer will come to you in some way. Something else that I want to point out is most people never even think about their dreams. Your dreams are metaphors. They're metaphors for something that is currently at some level of consciousness in your life. When most people look at their dreams, they only look at the dream and they only look at the content of the dream. That's only a fraction of the picture. What you want to look at is you want to look at the content of the dream, meaning what you dreamt about, and you want to look at the context of the dream, meaning what is happening in the content. So your content is plain and simple what happened in the dream. Meaning I was driving down the road and I dreamt that I dreamt that I was driving down the road and I had a flat tire. The context is the bigger picture of the dream is what were you driving? Where were you driving? What time of day was it? Who were you with? When you had the flat tire, were you also listening to a song on the radio that you remember in the dream? If you had a flat tire, did you pull over? Did no one help you? Did many people pull over to help you? To take that a little further, look at this. So I said, what is the context? Was there a song on the radio? And was that song on the radio Highway to Hell? And then you know what? You're consciously thinking something else. Let's say you're driving away from a business meeting, and then you have a dream, and you have the song on the radio, and you're not feeling good about the business meeting, and then on the radio the song is Highway to Hell. Well, that is content and context, and for me, I would really, really pay attention to that message. Because guess what? What the universe is telling me is that business relationship is the highway to hell. Another example here, let's say that you're in a dream, you have a flat tire. Most people just say, well, you know what? I had a dream and I had a flat tire in it. But let's say in your dream that you have a flat tire and no one pulls over to help you. Then what you want to look at is, okay, do I find that in my life I work from that anytime I'm in trouble, there's no one there to help me? So as you can see, the dream is not just about the content. The dream is more so about the context. Who's going on? What's in the background? What's the weather? Who are you talking to? What are the particulars of the conversation? When you look at the context and you match it to the content, many times it's very easy to see what's happening. I had a student of mine recently said, you know what, Jim, I had a dream and she told me about somebody in it. And she told me the person was using a hot glue gun in the dream. And so that's as far as she went, was content. And I told her to ask, what does a hot glue gun represent? Now, how does that representation tie back to the person using the hot glue gun? Because the unconscious mind has made an association for you, and you have to look at what the association is. So let's say, for example, a hot glue gun means danger to her. Well, then what the unconscious mind is doing is associating danger to that person in some way or something about them. And I do not mean generally as if that person is an entire danger. Then you look even further. Well, how could that person be a danger? Maybe they're trying to buy a house they can't afford. Maybe they're getting into a relationship that's a bad relationship for them. So you always want to look at both. You want to look at the dream, you want to look at the content, you want to look at the context, and then what you want to do as best you possibly can is make an interpretation and actually understand what's the relationship between the content and the context. Many times you will have significant ahas. Another example is, let's say that you have a dream and you're making cookies. Something very simple and banal. And then what you do in your dream, you look in the cupboard and you know what? You forgot to buy sugar. You don't have any sugar. And then you're like, well, you know what? Okay, let me pull out the rest of my ingredients. Maybe I'll run to the store and buy sugar. And then you look in the refrigerator and you don't have any eggs. So the dream, the content is that you're making cookies, but the context is that you didn't even prepare and have the right ingredients in the house to make the cookies. And the bigger message is, you look at your external life, the question that I would ask me if that happened is, okay, where in my life am I wanting to do something and I'm not prepared to do it? So I need to think through what I need to do to make this successful, and I need to make sure that I am prepared as best possible. Now, I come to that conclusion. Why? Because I got the message in dream time. You know, another way to use dream time is for obscure metaphors. One dream that I had, I was being attacked and I was being coiled around. There's this massive 30-foot anaconda snake. Number one is I do not like snakes, but it had wrapped around my body, and I had the head of the anaconda, the head of it in my hands, and I had both hands around the mouth, squeezing as tightly as I could to keep the anaconda from opening its mouth. Now, like I said, I've been doing this a lot of years, and anaconda and snake are a representation of ego. So for me, the message is where am I being trapped and where am I being suffocated by my ego? And you know what, Jim? You need to go look in the mirror because you need to look at where you've been egotistical or where you're living from your ego, and you need to actually start, shucking away that layer of your ego. So it can be, it can be metaphorical as well. So as you already know, you can use dream time for anything, any life area that you could possibly want, any problem where you're looking for an outcome. Healing, you can use dream time by directing your subconscious mind to either dream the dream where you see the answer, or you direct your subconscious mind to actually bring you the answer. Two separate things there, but very similar. Is one, you can ask the dream and get the answer, or you can just say, hey, sub, in dream time, let me wake up and let me have the answer, or let me have an epiphany, or let me have an aha. But to keep this as simple as possible, it's as plain and simple as just asking your subconscious mind to bring you the answer, the solution, or the outcome for whatever you want. You ask, you set your intention, which basically means I want this to happen. I am willing this to happen, and I know this will happen. When you do that, you may be shocked at how quickly you start getting answers. And let's say, for example, that you're not getting answers. Then what you could do, a couple of more things here, is let's say you don't remember your dreams. Well, use your subconscious mind and say, hey, subconscious mind, you know what? I want to start remembering my dreams. So in the morning when I wake up, I'm instructing you to have me recall the dreams that I had the night before. So you can use it for something as simple as that. If you're not dreaming things that you want to dream or the answers aren't coming quick enough, you can use your subconscious mind and say, hey, sub, can you make the answers more clear to me in a way that I would understand the answers? I think you're probably getting by now is that all that you have to do is instruct your unconscious mind to dream what you want to dream with a solution, or to bring you an answer. And if you're not getting it in the way that you want, or you're not getting it, then instruct your unconscious mind to bring it to you in a different way. Okay, as I said earlier, I use it, and I've given you some concrete examples. Tesla's used it, and I am definitely not Nikola Tesla, and Paul McCartney, and Einstein, and Henry Ford, and probably even people like Elon Musk. I don't know. But your takeaway is that you can use your subconscious mind and your dreams to heal, create, and manifest anything that you want. Also, make it a practice. What you want to do is every night before bed, before you click out the light, is just go through a little exercise like I just shared with you. And you can pick anything that you want. But start using it every night and start practicing. When you start practicing this, you will get results a lot quicker. Okay, so that wraps up this episode on dreaming. I thought it'd be a lot shorter, but I know me and I tend to go for a while. All right, next episode on Monday is a question that was sent in. And, it's in the show notes and everywhere else. I believe it's in the show notes, and it's in the outro of the podcast. If you have any questions, send them to support@jimfortin.com. I'm here to answer your questions. So the question on Monday is this, and this will apply to a lot of people listening. And the exact question is I am attracting clients who don't pay me, and I want to stop this as much as possible. Then this person goes on to write, I guess I realize that if it's happening too often, therefore, by the way, it's a choppy grammar. I'm reading their email. If my reality is a looking glass to my habits and self-image, how can I change this? The pattern is also stopping me from breaking through revenue barriers. So, if you're having problems breaking through revenue barriers, specifically, if you're having problems asking people for money or getting valued for your services, then whatever you do, make sure that you download and you listen to next Monday's podcast. All right, thanks for listening and do what you can to make it an awesome day today. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to this entire podcast. If you're the kind of person who likes to help others, then share this with your friends and family. You know, if you found value, they will too. So please share via your social media channels. Also, if you have questions, I'm here to assist. You can email me questions to support@jimfortin.com, and I may even use your question for a future podcast episode. Also, if you want transformational content like this daily, connect with me on Instagram. My Instagram name is I am Jim Fortin. Finally, I do have a personal request. I believe that we're all here to help others and to grow and evolve ourselves. Together, you and I, let's help more people. If you would please leave a review on iTunes, and a good one by the way. I'd be grateful, and through your assistance together, we can transform more lives. Thanks for listening.